Hey, this is Kirk Walden, and it's Coffee with Kirk on the Pregnancy Help Podcast. And once again, I have a splash of Jenn. So, Jenn, welcome back to the show.
Hello. It's an honor to be here. I love it.
And today, boy, this is going to be a challenging topic because the topic is opposites attract.
Yes.
And how did we get to this topic?
Well, it all started because we were asked to speak at Tennessee Pregnancy.
Yeah, Tennessee Pregnancy Center Conference, right?
Correct. And we were excited because we love, being in our home state and supporting all the good work happening here. And as we were preparing for a talk together, which we've done before, but this time it was new. It was about our book, Saving Samaria was kind of the focus. And it's the first time we've really talked about that. And we had to figure out a plan together. And within that, a theme kept emerging. Opposites attract, because we are very much opposites.
We are, and you brought up the idea, and we shared this with a group. You brought up the idea that if we were dogs.
Yes. I asked you, if I were a dog, Kirk, what dog would I be? Which I say, like, the fact that I would even ask him that question is just so foreign to him. Like, who says that? Who asked that question?
But I do. Who cares? But we'll get into that. But what's interesting to me is I think it pertains to our ministries and how we honor each other. But yes, when you asked me the question, what kind of dog are you? It took me about 1.24 seconds to say Chihuahua.
Yes, you answered it way too fast. I'm pretty sure you had clearly been thinking about this beforehand. My wife is like a Chihuahua. And so I pictured myself as a menopausal, highly caffeinated, reading glasses wearing Chihuahua. That is me. And I honestly could not disagree with you because I knew it was true.
But I'm a dog too.
Yes.
And what kind of dog am I?
And by the way, when we asked our kids, both of these, they did not hesitate either about what was what and who was who.
Right.
And you are a golden retriever.
I am. And there's good in golden retrievers and good in chihuahuas. What's
Really?
Good about a golden retriever? You tell me.
Well, a golden retriever is very loyal, and it's just kind, and it's going to be there for you. But we laughed because we said it's just, you picture a young golden retriever chasing the ball and all the energy. And we said, no, that would be the wrong image of Kirk. The right image of Kirk is the golden years golden retriever napping by the fire, just having a very calm time.
I may not be a napper, but my life can be a nap at times. I don't just fall asleep in the middle of the day. But yes, I like to reflect, relax, and think. And yet you have the Chihuahua bit that comes forth. Go ahead.
We laugh because it's like I get more done from 5 to 7 in the morning than most people do in an entire day. I just can go and go and go, just like a little Chihuahua. And I have lots of words and lots of thoughts and lots of plans. And so when we were writing Saving Samaria together, this was super highlighted because I would be like, oh, and we need to do this, and let's think about this and change this. And what if we, literally, not even kidding you, like pages and pages of ideas and notes. And Kirk is just like, I just want to think. I just want to sit. Can we just
want to stop? Yeah.
Let's just ponder that internally, because I'm very external and he's very internal. He's actually a big people person, but processing and working through things, he's very much an internal processor.
Yes.
So this difference was really highlighted when we wrote Saving Samaria together. It was a lot of difference.
But a Chihuahua is not bad. In fact, our neighbor up the street has 2 Chihuahuas,
yes.
And they're the most loving little girls.
Tiki and Tilly. Don't you love those names?
Yes. And this guy, he's a wonderful guy. He takes care of everything in our neighborhood. We call him the mayor. And if there's a problem, he can solve it, no matter what it is. But he has trained those dogs well. They love on you. They're terrific. And those are great Chihuahuas. But and Jennifer's a great Chihuahua. But here's what happened. When we were preparing that talk, how many pages of notes did we have by the time we got done?
I probably had 30 plus pages of notes about what we could talk about.
And we had 30 minutes. So we did have to pare down a little bit, but we're different and we want to celebrate those differences.
Well, we have to tell them that we almost got into a fight right before we were going on stage. And to me, this is hilarious. It is just so us.
Well, it's Chihuahua Golden Retriever fight.
Absolutely.
Well, it wasn't a fight because you and I have never
figured
fought.
it out.
But if
we never fight ever.
But if we could, that's what this would have been about. Because I had emailed in advance and said, you know what, we're doing the luncheon keynote and everybody's going to be relaxed and laid back. So let's do the same. Let's put a couple of chairs up there. Give us each a couple of mics.
This was before we even knew what we were really going to talk about or we really had a plan. He's calling the director of the conference and saying, please put I'm sorry, this gets me so tickled. Two chairs. Please put us 2 chairs on the stage.
I wanted the Golden Retriever this thing. I wanted to sit back, have a little conversation.
What? That is what you're thinking about right now, is that we need chairs. And even when we got there, I look on stage and sure enough, I thought we got past that. I thought we decided we weren't going to have chairs. But that was not true. That was Kirk's plan. He needed a chair up there. And we get there and they're like 2 recliners. They weren't, but it was like the most comfortable chairs. And okay, so now you go.
Well, we got ready to go up there and you basically said, we're not going to use those chairs. In so many words, you weren't going to. And I realized,
was like, are you serious right now?
And I realized that we are different. And as a good husband, she said, as a good wife, she said, whatever you want to do, I will do. But I looked in her beautiful Chihuahua eyes and I said, if we go up there and sit in those chairs, this is not going to go well. So I ditched the idea of the chairs, but I did use it as we got on stage and used it to remind everyone out there that we are different.
Yes.
We are different.
You are my Golden Retriever. And, of course, honestly, as I'm thinking about those chairs and I'm thinking, my stars, I can really struggle getting out of a chair sometimes. And the last thing I need is to struggle getting up out of that chair in front of all these people. And the other thing I was thinking is when I'm standing up, I can hide a lot of imperfections, but you sit me in a chair and these are just going to start plopping out. It's just the truth. I'm like, I don't want them to see all my rolls. So, there's that.
And so we did not use the chairs. Just to wrap this up, we didn't use the chairs, although you allowed me to sit down for about 30 seconds while you were sharing something. But you know what? It went great without the chairs. It would not have gone well with the chairs. You know what? We're different.
Yes.
And we have different ways of doing things. It's interesting because the year before at that conference, I had been on a panel and they used chairs and I thought it was wonderful and I thought it went well because we had a panel of 4, but with 2, it would have never worked.
Well, it might have worked, but I had a vision in my head and I wanted to stick to it.
And guess what? She's able to use more words and so she wins. Okay. I want to jump into this because we are different, you and I.
Yes.
But we work together. That book got written because we're different.
Right.
And we brought different things to the table. We're often told that our diversity is our strength. That's in the commercials. We see all of that. And I honestly don't believe that. I believe our unity is our strength. And I want to get there today because we bring different things on our staffs, even with our board and executive director, we bring different talents, strengths, and perspectives to the table. And we have to unify even though we're different.
And we even thought of an example, to show, I think about in our marriage, we are very different, but there's something we are not different about. We are 1,000,000% unified in the mission that we are before God, before ourselves, before our children. We are married, we are one, and we are committed to each other. And any diversity, I don't even like the word diversity really, honestly, but any opposites any differences in our strengths.
Yes.
Okay, we're different. Great. Our mission's still the same.
Yes. And we need to honor those differences because God uses those
Mm-hmm.
in order to make each of us better. Just like writing the book, there were different things you brought to the table.
Right. And I think about another example is like, okay, potluck. Everybody loves a good potluck, right? So if you have a potluck, the unity is we're going to have a potluck. The difference is you don't want everybody bringing baked beans.
That's right.
You want diversity of like the things that people bring to the meal. And
yeah, salads, main entrees, vegetables,
you're making
desserts.
me hungry.
Okay. Shouldn't have been recording it at mealtime, but
right. So, but you laughed because what did you make fun of me about this very
I didn't
topic?
make fun at all because one time somebody said bring plates and forks
to a very big family gathering and where there needed to be a lot of food. And you're trying to save me on this one, but it's just what it was. And that was not uncommon. Jennifer, bring the plates. Why is that, Kirk Walden?
I have no idea. And I'd rather end this portion of the conversation and move on to something else.
Fair enough.
But we do bring different things to the table. We bring different personalities. We bring different strengths. We bring all these things. And the challenge can be in our ministry that when we see a difference, when we see somebody approaching a problem from a different perspective, we can begin to write a story. Mm-hmm. We can begin to write the story that they don't get it. They don't understand. They
just don't care.
That's right. That's right. Maybe that's what we say. And it's interesting because we were recently at a dinner where all of these were coming up and a husband and wife were talking about their differences and how they almost got into real battles because she is a processor of information and he just, hey, here's the facts. Here's what we're going to do. And she needs to process information. She needs more information. And he said, look, I thought that was that she didn't trust me. No, she just needed to process more information before she got there. We're on the same page. Everything's great. But she needed something, and I saw that as a mistrust.
Right.
And she saw it, I'm sure she saw it as he won't tell me things I need to know. So,
mm-hmm. And in their marriage, they came up with a way just to, when she feels that she needs more information, and she knows he's going to start kind of feeling like, what? Why are you needing all this information? She said, girl talk to me.
Yeah, I need the girl story.
I need the girl version.
Yes.
And that's their way of understanding each other. But like, as a team, in our marriages, we're always trying to figure out as couples, how do we grow together? How are we stronger together? Well, as a team, how do we do that?
Yeah. And that's the big challenge because it is so easy to, when that person comes from a different perspective, it could be in a board meeting, it could be in a staff meeting, it could be as we're talking about a new project. When that person begins to raise questions that kind of get us and we think they're not on the team, we need to think about perspective and where are they coming from. So yeah, we have conflict in our ministries and sometimes we're going to start writing stories about other people when in fact they're just coming from a different perspective. And you've seen this in teaching.
Oh, yeah. And I think it's interesting to me over the years. I've noted that sometimes people with the greatest strengths also have really glaring weaknesses that are not hidden, right? So you have people that are just kind of so steady and their weaknesses and their strengths are kind of like, it's all steady. But there are other people where they have these like insane strengths, but at the same time, they're balanced by really big weaknesses. And I've seen a couple of examples over the years, like great teachers who really had their kids like on board, great results, everything is amazing, but they are late every single day. I mean, like they cannot be on time. And so, why is that? And to recognize, and in this case, like I was on an admin team with this situation. It was like, hey, we love him. You just kind of overlooked it because it's like he brings so much value to this community. So what? So what if the kids are waiting at his door a minute longer than they might need to be? Because he's phenomenal.
I think that's a great example.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people will do something that bothers us and we have to focus in and say, but you know what? They have great strengths. So that's one area where we need to bring unity is remembering remembering the strengths when something drives us up the wall.
Right. And I know, and I've had to remind myself of this so many times when I'm working with someone, an adult who I'm like, what in the world? And I just stop myself. I try to do this. I've done this a lot within the last year. I was like, okay, but do they love our clients, AKA our students? Yes, they do. They love kids. They love students. Okay. Well, they may be falling short in this area, but that doesn't mean I'm assuming negative in them about the mission, and that's not okay. They're in the mission. They care deeply.
And I've seen this in pregnancy help work, obviously. I remember talking with an executive director one time, and they're really struggling with a particular board member. And she was right. There were a lot of, best I could tell, because I'm not getting the board member story, best I could tell, she was correct in what she was saying, because I asked some probing questions and I thought, okay, there is a conflict here. I think the board member has missed the mark a little bit. But at one point I did ask the question, I said, do you believe this board member loves the Lord and is trying to follow Jesus to the best of their ability? Mm-hmm. And her unwavering, quick answer was absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think we have to go back to that when we're facing these conflicts and trying to get unity. I think we have to remember and ask ourselves that question. Do they love Jesus? If there's not a moral question here, if there's not a question of whether they're walking in the Spirit, any of that, and we think about the Galatians 5:22, fruit of the Spirit, if that's not a question, then we need to go back and remind ourselves, hey, we're in the same mission. But within that, we have to understand one another better. And I want you to jump in there.
Well,
Jen.
I was going to two quick things. One is we were thinking about the podcast today. I was like, would I want to work with me? Like I like how driven I am with task and work, and I can get a lot done. But would I want 5 of me on a team? Oh my goodness, no, right? Never. Like I'm a lot. I'm enough, right? Just me. And would Kirk, 5 of Kirk on a team be a good team?
I think it would be wonderful. And we would relax and rest a lot more.
Would be retreats all the time and a lot of sports. But no, I do think understanding and valuing these differences is critical. And I think that we need those differences. And would you want like the person who is really good at talking to everybody, clients that come in the door and just knows how to love them, knows how to pull them into the gospel in such a beautiful way? Is that necessarily the person you want keeping accounts of your books? We both know that does not always work.
Like, don't always go together, no.
Not at all. It can, but not always. And so we need those different pieces of the potluck all coming together. But how do we get there? How do we figure out each other's differences? And this is something that's always fascinated me. I used to teach psychology, and I loved things like the Myers-Briggs. I found a lot of value in that and understanding myself and others better. And you and I have done work together on several different leadership, personality kind of
all those different things. Yeah, and one of them is Working Genius. Obviously, we've done that. We're big Pat Lencioni fans.
Yeah.
And we found out you are a wonderer.
Yes.
You love to wonder, and I'm not a wonderer.
He doesn't wonder about anything.
No,
you know?
I want to get it done. How do we take the next step? All those sorts of things.
He's very much about tenacity and getting the work done.
Yes, and so whatever tool you use, these are just 2. We're going to name a few more, but as we jump in, I want to say it's very important as we're onboarding people, and if we're resetting our team in any way, let's use these tools. And
with Working Genius, I mean, we started using it in a couple of projects we're doing together for pregnancy centers, and we're like, oh, okay. So we've been able to like really team up now, and you're like, okay, you're wondering. Awesome. Are you done wondering? Yeah. And you ask me, like, Do you think there's any more wondering to do on this? Or are we ready to jump into how we're going to make this actually happen? And it's neat to see us working through the process together of Working Genius. And Patrick Lencioni is doing like a marriage Working Genius
he just did a podcast, and right now I've got it on my email. I didn't tell you. I've got it on my email. We're going to watch that.
We want to do that. So awesome.
Another one that we've just come in contact with is Intermetrics, which Liliana Grace Media is doing. And I haven't dived into it, but I'm hearing about it. And Kevin Anderson and the team there are rolling it out. So that's one to be thinking about. You got another one there?
Another one is in partnership with Patrick Lencioni. I recently did a training from the leader group. So it's a partnership with Patrick and the Working Genius model, but how we work as teams and how we communicate with teams. And it was phenomenal. And I'd love for us to kind of delve into that more in communication and conflict in another podcast.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to throw it out there because it was so beneficial. They've done some awesome work. My favorite I've done in recent times has been actually through our church. Our entire church community did a communication study called I Said This and You Said That by...
You heard that. I said this, you heard that.
Oh, I cannot get that right. Details.
Well, you're wondering.
I am. I don't have time for the details. It's terrible. Thank goodness I have you. But I Said This, You Heard That by Kathleen Edelman. Best communication study I have ever done.
Gives us each a color.
Yeah.
As to how we communicate and how we hear communication. And it's a great resource to kind of figure out how we work together.
Yeah, it helped me better understand Kirk and how I'm communicating with him and what he's actually hearing. It helped me understanding my own children. Our whole family did it. It was a lot of fun. We tried to guess what everybody was. And then in my teaching and working with people, coaching people, it's changed my lens and like how I look at somebody. Like, oh, they are somebody who really needs harmony. So if I come to them in this kind of tone, they're going to hear conflict and they're going to shut down on me, or they're just going to agree with me to create harmony in the situation. So and this book talks about, so how do you communicate with somebody who always seeks harmony? That doesn't mean they're a bad person. They just, that's who they are. So how do we build on that?
Yeah.
Use that as a strength on our team, and that kind of thing.
And I think what we need to do, if we could put a wrap on this one, because this is going to be a continuing discussion.
Yeah.
To put a wrap on this one, what are you doing for onboarding? If we want to build a culture for our ministry, what are we doing as we onboard new staff, and even, and I mean volunteer staff as well, because they're a working part of this equation. Understanding each other is so important. What are we doing with our board, and what are we doing as a team? Maybe if we need to reset, we're like, hey, we've had a few new people, or hey, let's start from zero and figure out where we are and who brings what. It doesn't mean somebody's going to be changing jobs or anything like that. It could, but to go through these, say which one would work for you. I would be going into these and looking at what would work for us right now.
Yeah, I've been on several teams lately where that was part of it. Like, what working genius are you? And one of the things I think that helps you do culturally as a team is it does put people where their strengths are. It does help people to do work that they love and not work that they just feel drained by. And that helps the entire culture. And it helps us understand how to trust each other better, to have, go to somebody else and say, hey, look, I am just stuck here. And I know you're really good at asking questions. Will you brainstorm with me and just ask me some questions right now so I can maybe get the ball rolling on this? I mean, it's just, we could talk about this for so long. It's such an incredible opportunity, I think, for culture building and team building.
And I think this discussion opens that door. And if I could give someone a practical step right now, let's look at our team and say, what tool can we use to begin to understand ourselves better? Because we want unity from all these different perspectives. How do we make sure everybody's on mission? What is a tool that we can use for those currently on staff and as we onboard new people so that we can build our team? And then let's talk about how we use those in the weeks and months ahead as we continue on this process.
Yeah, I love it. And I think the prayer can be, Lord, help us to see each other as a team and how we can use our differences to be one unit, one mind, one purpose as a ministry.
We're powerful when we're that one purpose. And I want you to close with this. I want you to close us with the story of the St. Jude's employee.
Okay, I love this story. So there were some reporters going through St. Jude's Hospital, and they were talking to different people and asking them about their jobs. And they get to a janitor or a custodial staff, and they said, "Sir, tell us about what you do here at St. Jude's." And his response was, "I cure cancer."
I love that.
Isn't it insanely beautiful? Like that was his mission. And I think about our mission as ministry. And I used to tell the boys when Kirk has to travel a lot across the country, and I'm so proud of the work he does. But as a family, that can be hard when he has to be gone and visiting with ministries across the country. But when the boys were little and he would be gone, I would always tell them, your daddy is out and he's helping save lives. That's what he does. Because I wanted them, I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about it. But that's the work that he does, and that's the work that you do. And we've talked about it. It doesn't matter what your role.
That's right. That's exactly right. It could be anything. It could be anything from donor development to administrative to being being a client advocate or CEO or board member, whatever it happens to be.
Right.
We're on one mission.
We're on one mission. We help save lives.
We save them physically and we save them spiritually.
Yeah.
We save lives. Anything we can do, any tool we can find to pull us together and remind ourselves there's one mission, one team. And as we work together, we're mighty hard to stop. So
Amen.
Thanks for being with us this month. We're going to continue this conversation next month. We look forward to being with you again. And hey, would you let us know what tools you are currently using? We might bring those up in our next episode.
Would love that.
Thanks for joining us on Coffee with Kurt with a Splash of Jen.